How's it going, everyone? It is Andre Williams, and over here we talk stocks and we focus on one thing. Always protect your profits. And today we're going to be talking about Lucid. It ended up being down just over 4% on the Friday, so I want to give you guys my update for this coming week. So I won't waste any more time. Let's jump to the agenda. If you're new to this channel, I just want to let you know we have timestamps down below inside the description. But if you're a shareholder, you're thinking about taking a position, I highly suggest you watch this full entire video. So the first thing we're going to go over is the technical analysis. We're going to be taking a look at the overall price action. We want to know support. We want to know resistance. We want to know what it looks like in a bearish case scenario and as well as in the bullish case scenario. And then we're going to be going on Fintel, taking a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information. The reason why this is important because it does have an impact on the way the stock performs. And then we're going to be taking a look at the order flow distribution. We want to know the buying and the selling behavior on the retail side and as well as on the institutional side. And then when all of that is done, we'll be going into the final thoughts and as well as some more details. So let's get to it. So we're going to do a technical analysis for Lucid. Let's see how it performed on Friday. So it ended up closing at $25.16, being down 4.15%. On the low, it tested $24.52, and then on the high, testing $26.06. When we take a look at the volume stats on the day, you can see we traded at 17.277 million shares, and the average volume over 10 trading days is at 22.781 million shares. So we did have below average volume on the day, and it's part of the reasons why we've seen some weakness in the stock. Now, when we take a look at our chart, which is a daily chart, you can see from the RSI down below, it is at 47.65. And then when we take a look at our moving averages here on the chart, we are below the 100-day, the 200-day, the 50-day, and we also just finished below the 21-day EMA. It is at $25.34, and we close at $25.16. So what I'm seeing for this coming week, I can see a possible test down here to $24, especially since we did test a low of $24.52 on Friday. And if we end up breaking through this $24 level, then you want to see if support's going to hold up right here around $23.20. And breaking down at this level would bring it back down to where we start seeing the $20 range. So this is something you want to keep an eye on. As far as looking for a reversal now, yes, we did have a strong uptrend previously, and of course there has been some profit taking here, but if we could turn things around and make a move going to the 50-day around $28.24, that would be a great look for Lucid. But we also cannot ignore the fact that it needs to have some price action above $27.50. Every time we get to that $27 range, there's a lot of resistance. That's why we only end up seeing a high at $27.25. So that's why you want to keep a very close eye and see if Lucid can get back to the $27 range. But from how I'm seeing it so far and how it looks on the chart, and since it is trading below all of our major moving averages and we've had the death cross, it could be a bearish week that is coming up. But of course, I'll keep you guys updated. Let's go on to the short interest information. So we're going to take a look at the recent institutional ownership and short interest information for Lucid. As we scroll down further on the page, green rows indicate new positions while red rows indicate closed positions. So when we take a look at the recent filings here, we have Amplify ETF Trust that purchased 360 shares for the 25th, and then we have JP Morgan Beta Builders that purchased 12,620 shares. We also have Calamos Market Neutral that placed a short position, and that's just under 480,000 shares. And then we also have Fidelity on the 24th that went in with 1,116 shares. We also did notice this with Sun America, and as well we see them take two different positions of 560 shares and as well as 3,044. Now when we take a look at the short interest, the off-exchange short volume ratio is at 61.16%, and then for the off-exchange short volume, it is just over 3.72 million shares. Scrolling down further on the page, the short shares availability is at 200,000, updated 26 minutes ago, and then for the short vol fee rate, it is at 8.66%. When we take a look at the history of the short volume, we can see for the close of the 24th, it is at 51.88, and then for the close of the 25th, being at 61.16. So one thing that is clear, Lucid does continue to have short squeeze potential. Now let's move on to the order flow distribution.
Now let's take a look at the order flow distribution for Lucid. So we see on the inflow, it is at 62.98, and then on the outflow, it's at 68.16. So we end up having an outflow day. Taking a look at the breakdown on the large, it was 0. On the medium, it was 40.72, and then on the small, it was 22.26. Keep in mind, these numbers are in the millions. Taking a look at the outflow side, you can see on the large, it was 4.39. On the medium, it was 42.69. And then on the small, it was 21.08. And then when we take a look at the large scale orders in the last 5 days, you can see for March 25th, which was a Friday that passed, we had a negative outflow of 4.39 million. The day before that, on the 24th, we had an inflow of 7.54 million. So you can see clearly, as far as for the past 5 trading days, we have mostly inflows than we had outflows. And then when we analyze numbers even further for the small scale orders that tends to represent the retail side, we had more buying than we had selling. And then when we take a look at what happened on the medium, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the large, which represents whales, institutions, and funds, we had more selling than we had buying. And then when we take a look at the turnover ratio, it was at 1.05%. So this continues to be a consistent range for Lucid. If you've been watching this channel long enough, there's many people who are continuing to hold on to their positions. We also do see institutions have been loading up. We do have traders, but not like what we had previously in the past. But this just gives us a good indication that there's stabilization in the stock price. You're not going to be seeing any wild moves whatsoever, but you've noticed this for quite some time if you've been in Lucid long enough. So let's go into the final thoughts and we'll go over some more details as well. So for my final thoughts for Lucid, when it comes to the price action, it needs to continue to hold $25. If not, then we could have a pullback to where we could start testing around $22.50. And if we get below $22.50, that's where we can start seeing it around the $20 range. But also do know, if we can hold up 24, that won't be too bad either, because going into April, this is known to be the month where we see a lot of strength inside of the markets. So if we have strength coming into the markets and there's a lot of buying, Lucid is going to move alongside with it, and that's where we could potentially make that move to get back to $28 or even touching around 30. But if we see that there's strength in the markets in the month of April, but we see weakness in Lucid, that is not a good sign whatsoever. But one thing that is evident though, institutions are continuing to load up on shares, and we noticed this when taking a look at the order flow distribution for the past 5 trading days. And also when we went on Fintel, we could see institutions have been loading up on shares. There is a lot of interest, and that is not surprising due to the fact that it is in the NASDAQ 100 and they do have a strong future in regards to potential. And then when we took a look at the short interest information, it does continue to have short squeeze potential. So that is why if a catalyst comes through, you could see some strong moves and price action, but that buying volume needs to be there. The volume has been quite weak, and I want to see that getting better, but I don't see it getting better until we have more confidence, especially in the tech sector. We know that EVs have been getting a lot of attention due to the surge that we've been seeing in oil prices, so that's why you want to make sure you keep this play on your watch list. So for my long-term investors, of course, the intraday action really doesn't matter as much, but if you want to add to your position, I'd want to do it when the stock is trading at a much better price. And of course, for myself, my strategy still remains the same. I do not plan to buy any more shares until the stock is trading under $20. Does that mean that I'm bearish about the play? Of course not. I believe in their long-term prospects, but I also do believe there's no reason for you to be in a rush whatsoever. We are going into an environment where we're dealing with interest rate hikes. We have Jerome Powell talking about multiple hikes at 50 basis points. So that is why if you're a long-term investor, I feel your patience will be rewarded. And for those, I just want to jump into this play order thinking about swing trading it, then just make sure you're paying attention to those support and resistance areas. The last thing that you want to do is be buying at the highs of the day. Again, you want to be smart. You want to have a strategy. You want to have your exit and as well as your entry planned out, and making sure that you're using the right stop loss. And if you are going to be trading options and so forth, just make sure as far as the contracts that you're buying, you're getting these premiums at a good price. Just don't walk in there and start buying it. I get a lot of questions, people saying, well, I don't know whether I want to go in with calls or puts. When is the best time to buy them and so forth? And again, that's all dependent on price action. If you guys want to join us inside of the Discord, you can find that link inside the description. We could talk about it further because there's many inside of the Discord that like to trade Lucid on a daily basis. So I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I can't wait to see how the stock performs for the coming week. And of course, I'll continue to keep you guys inside of of the loop. We'll talk soon.